What's up YouTube? Welcome back. My name's Tony and today we're talking about recording vocals in a home studio. So I find generally the challenge with recording vocals in a home studio is getting a good, clean recording that is free of any unwanted room reflections or ambience. I find a lot of home studios, such as mine, are located in a house's extra room or in a bedroom with a bed and dressers. So the big challenge becomes actually getting your vocals to sound clear and upfront without the sort of boxy sound that comes with being in a small room. So there's lots of tricks you can do to kind of simulate a vocal booth in a very small space, and I'm going to show you some of those today. But let's start right with the basics. So what do you need to record vocals? I generally recommend a large diaphragm condenser microphone. There's a ton of them on the market, and a lot of them are very affordable. The two that I use most in my home studio are these two. We've got a Rode NT1A and an Apex 460. Now, a few years ago when I picked this mic up, Apex 460s were super cheap. I think I got it for about 300 bucks. The price has definitely inflated since then. Now, right out of the box, I don't think these are the greatest sounding mic. But the cool thing about them is that they're a really solid frame and you can modify them really easily. Now, these are a tube microphone. So I found the easiest mod to do is to simply switch out the 12AX7 that comes with it for a tube with a little bit more headroom. The label on here says a 12AU7, which I was using in here for a while, but at current I believe I have a 12AY7 in there. Generally when you buy a large diaphragm condenser mic, it'll come with a shock mount. These things are great. They mount your condenser mic on elastics to help get rid of any of the rumble that would come from a singer tapping their foot or just general movement of the microphone. I'd also recommend having a pop screen for recording vocals. Pop filters come in many shapes and sizes. You've got your standard gooseneck one like this that you could clip onto your mic stand and bend to be in front of your microphone. We've also got some like this, which would sit right on top of your microphone. The purpose of a pop filter is to stop the plosive sounds, which would be the hard P's, B's, or D's, from hitting your microphone's capsule too hard and causing a low frequency bump in your audio. So I'm using these two mics in particular as a demonstration because I see people asking online all the time if it makes a difference if your mic is mounted upright or upside down. And from me, the answer to that is it depends on what kind of microphone you have. The NT1 is your standard condenser mic. It takes 48 volts of phantom power to power it up, whereas the Apex 460 is a tube microphone. This one doesn't take your standard phantom power, but it comes with an additional power supply to power up the tube. The Rode NT1 you can mount upright, upside down. It really doesn't matter. It's not going to make much of a difference on the sound. But with a tube mic like the Apex 460, you'll want to mount it upside down. The reason for that is that the tube inside when it's on will generate a fair amount of heat. So if you have it upright like this, that heat will rise and heat up your capsule, which can drastically change the tone of your microphone. However, if you have it upside down, that heat will still rise this way and it won't affect your capsule at all. A lot of people like to mount any kind of microphone upside down on a tall stand so that your singer can't grab onto it or knock a cable or anything like that. I've generally found most singers that I've worked with to be very respectful of the gear and they don't even bother trying to touch the stands or anything. Maybe I'm just lucky like that. So when it comes to your microphone placement with your vocal mic, you want your singer to be at least one open hand away from the capsule of your mic. So if you've got your microphone hanging here, you don't want your singer any closer than this. There's a little thing known as the proximity effect when using microphones. Now, the proximity effect means that the closer you get your microphone to your sound source, the more of the low end you're going to pick up out of that sound source. And with a lot of these very sensitive mics, the further you get away from the sound source, the less low end you get and the more room sound you'll end up picking up. So as a good starting point, I would suggest do the old hand trick, one open hand away from the mic, and adjust your tone from there. So me, I'm not a singer, I've got a terrible voice, so I've asked two of my friends in the band Arbutus Roots to come and give me a hand with this video. I've been working on Arbutus Roots' upcoming EP for the past handful of months now. It should be released by the end of the summer, and we're going to be recording a clip from their song Hurdle for these examples. So up first, we've got Matt singing directly into my Apex 460 with no pop screen.
Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time.
So next we're going to move the pop screen in front of this microphone and listen to how that affects the impact of the plosive sounds on the track.
Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time.
In my home studio here, I've got a fair amount of foam and sound treatment on the walls to help deaden a lot of reflections bouncing around the room. Some of you out there may have that, and some of you out there may not. If you don't, and you're recording vocals in a room, you may find that you get a lot of room sound, a lot of reflections, a lot of unwanted ambience. So there's a few little home studio tricks that you can use to help cut down on those. The first one I'll mention is putting something soft behind your singer to cut down on the early reflections coming from behind. In my home studio, what I do is tuck a large, thick blanket into my closet doors, close them as much as I can to keep it there, and have the singer stand directly in front of that. If you don't have doors to hook those in on, you can always use an extra mic stand set up in a T shape and just drape the blanket over top of that. But as long as it's behind your singer, about head height, draping down, it'll make a huge difference. So now here's an audio example of Matt singing his part with the blanket behind him.
Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time.
So that's great for cutting down reflections coming from behind your singer. But what about reflections coming from behind the microphone? There's a lot of companies out there that make a tool called a reflection filter. So this is the reflection filter that I have. It's by Prime Acoustics. It's called the Prime Acoustics Volksguard. It's spelled like that. So what you do with these is you mount these on your microphone stand. Now they come with a little attachment that you can mount your shock mount right onto. So you attach your Volksguard to the stand, and you attach your clip right to there, and now you can start cutting down the reflections from behind the microphone. So here's an audio example of Matt singing his part with just the reflection filter on there.
Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time.
So here's an audio example of Matt singing his part with both the blanket behind him and the reflection filter behind the microphone.
Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time.
Now, if you're taking all of these steps and you find you're still not getting a vocal sound that you're happy with, it might just be that the microphone you've chosen is not the right microphone for the voice that you're recording. I'm fortunate in my studio to have a handful of mics that I can use for recording vocals, as well as a handful of different preamps that I can try to add a different character to those microphones. Now, not every microphone is going to work for every sound source. As we found when I was doing some pre-production demos with the boys in Arbutus Roots, the microphone setup that worked for Ryan definitely did not work for Matt's voice. So here's a little clip of Ryan singing through the signal chain that we set up during the recording sessions for him. Now that setup is a Rode NT1 running into my Warm Audio WA73.
It can all be saved, it won't be the same in time. It can all be saved, it won't be the same in time.
And now we'll get Matt to sing through that vocal mic setup.
Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time. Sleeping under lights, breathing in the tide, keeping close in mind that you won't be here in time.
So let's try having Ryan sing through Matt's setup. Now Matt's setup is my Apex 460 running directly into the onboard preamps of my Motu 828X interface.
It can all be saved, it won't be the same in time. It can all be saved, it won't be the same in time.
Well guys, I hope these tips have been helpful for you, and thank you so much for watching. I'd like to thank Ryan and Matt from Arbutus Roots for coming in to help me with this video. If you'd like to check out some of Arbutus Roots stuff, there'll be links down in the comments to their social media pages. I'm currently working on their upcoming EP, which we're hoping to have released before the end of this summer, 2019. If you've enjoyed this video and would like to see more videos like this one, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you know when I post new content. Thanks again for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.
Face to the sun where the